Why have I asked my HVAC guy I found on Angie.com to change my grandpa's trachea tube? Because I was so amazed by how quickly he replaced our air ducts. I knew I could trust him to change Pop-Pop's tube while I was on vacation.
Make it quick, young man.
Aw, see? Pop-Pop trusts you.
I think we should call a doctor.
Connecting homeowners with skilled pros for over 30 years. Angie, the one you trust to find the ones you trust. Find pros for all your home projects at Angie.com.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply. Quality proteins aren't just for special occasions. With Omaha Steaks, you get mouth-watering proteins delivered right to your door. Individually packaged and portioned, so a great dinner is just minutes away. From Taco Tuesday to a weekend feast. Taste the Omaha Steaks difference. Start getting flavorful proteins delivered today. Visit omahasteaks.com and get $35 off with promo code AUDIO at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, code AUDIO. Terms apply. See site for details.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 463 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Me too, man. We got a lot going on, but it's good. It's good to be busy.
At my age, I'm just glad I wake up in the morning.
Well, I am too, because I kind of need you.
Yeah.
as a co-host, and for other reasons as well. I mean, you know. Not just that. That sounded kind of selfish.
It did. It actually really did. I'm
did.
like, oh, okay, well.
Let's go ahead and transition and give our Patreon shout outs. We had Natasha Jones.
What's going on, Natasha?
Tony Mathis.
From the Mathis Legacy.
Yana.
What's going on, Yana?
Don Birch.
Well, hey, thanks, Birch.
Lulu.
L&L.
Okay.
Yeah.
Justine.
What's going on, Justine?
Brianna Michelle.
Hey, it's two first names. You know that?
I'm aware of that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I pointed that out to you.
Okay.
Thanks, Michelle.
Suzanne Jackson.
What's happening, Jackson?
And last but not least, Dana Stark.
There's the Stark.
You know, there's quite a few people who have two first names.
That is true.
Well, it's a first and a last, but it could be a first.
Yeah. If I was well, my mom always told me.
My mom said. My mom said.
If I was born a girl, my name was going to be Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, thanks for telling me that, Mom. But I was born as a boy, so I am Michael.
I thought you were going to disclose something that the rest of us didn't know there for a minute. No. And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Stephanie Gulick.
Or Stefani.
Could be.
You know, you never know.
But we appreciate all the Patreon support. We have a new episode out right now on True Crime All the Time where we're talking about Robert Che, who was murdered during a home invasion. And this is a very brutal crime. His wife and kids were there. They were bound. And then police had to work hard to identify multiple suspects. And there were a lot of people involved.
It kind of felt like there was a boatload.
Yeah, there were a lot. All right, buddy, are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am.
We are talking about the murder of Cecilia Divine. Cecilia Divine went missing from Newcastle, New South Wales in September 2018. Her remains were found 6 months later in a dam near Katoomba, over 200 kilometers away from her home. To date, investigators have not been able to determine the circumstances surrounding Cecilia's death. Cecilia Divine was born Kristen Pearson on December 21st, 1976, to parents Kathleen and Murray Pearson. She has two brothers named Nathan and Troy. She legally changed her name to Cecilia Divine in 2016. When Cecilia was young, her family moved to Toronto in the Newcastle region of New South Wales. Cecilia was a talented singer, dancer, and musician. As an adult, she performed solo and with other artists in Australia and overseas. She released her own album in 2017.
It's almost like when I did my one-man band show back in the day.
Mm-hmm. You released an album.
I did.
That did not sell well.
According to you.
And that was according to the industry. I think they tracked that stuff. And that was the end of your musical career.
I had to shelf it for a little bit.
Cecilia's mother said in a statement, she was a talented singer and songwriter with a sparkling smile, infectious laugh, and a big heart. Her brother Nathan also said about her, she was very much into the music scene with the singing. She loved to be part of the social life. That's why she was so devoted to her singing. She could assimilate with anyone.
That's a talent.
Singing or assimilating?
Both, actually.
Okay. I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Cecilia lived in Sydney for a period of time, but in 2011, she moved back to Newcastle to help care for her father, who was sick. She was deeply affected by his passing in 2012.
Yeah, it's tough when you lose a parent, especially one that you're extremely close to.
Yeah, very tough. By 2013, it was apparent to her family that Cecilia was developing a mental illness. She had gone to Miami to perform. During a trip to New York, she suffered an acute mental health episode and was admitted to the hospital. Her brother Troy traveled to New York to help bring her back to Newcastle, where she was admitted to the hospital. It was there that Cecilia was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. She was prescribed medication and began seeing a psychologist after she was discharged. And, that would be very scary when you're halfway around the world, right? To get a call that something's going on with your loved one. You got to jump on a flight from Australia to New York. It's not a short flight.
Yeah, it's got to be tough when your support, right? Your family, your people that support you are not with you, right? You're in a city going through this mental illness all alone, but it's also hard on them too, right? Because they're not there to give you the support that they want to give you.
Well, and they can't just jump in a car and drive 30 minutes. I mean, This is a process, right? Getting on a plane, the flight from Australia to New York and back. In the following years, Cecilia used cannabis regularly and did not always take her medication. She experienced further acute mental health episodes, some of which resulted in hospital admissions. And I don't know how unusual this is, Gibbs. I've heard of people doing this, not taking their medication, but kind of almost self-medicating with something like cannabis because they feel like it works for them. And maybe it's because they don't like the way that the other medication makes them feel. We've heard that before.
Yeah, I think I've heard other people doing the same thing, right? They self-medicate thinking it's going to be a better way for them to go.
According to her mother, Kathy, when she was having a mental health episode, Cecilia would sometimes discard her phone and other personal property because she believed she was being followed. She would sometimes remove her shoes as well. During such episodes, Cecilia would voluntarily seek help at a hospital. She would sometimes be out for 24 hours before she went to a hospital or called an ambulance per 9 News.
I mean, it sounds like a scary thing to go through.
Oh, very scary. But I just wonder if it's being exacerbated by the fact that she's not taking her prescribed medication. Cecilia's close friend, Rosemary Olt, told police that when Cecilia experienced a mental health episode, she would often leave home and walk long distances without telling anyone where she was. She also confirmed that Cecilia would throw away her phone and would eventually get help at a safe place like a hospital.
I mean, it sounds like she had some paranoia.
Yeah, I think so. Throwing the phone away, believing that someone was following her, maybe tracking her through the phone. In 2018, Cecilia was living and working in Werritaw, a suburb of Newcastle. a neighbor called the police on the night of September 5th, 2018, because they were concerned that Cecilia wasn't answering her door. They also noticed that the rear screen door of her apartment appeared to be damaged. Police went to her apartment and saw that the screen door was locked. She wasn't inside the unit. Her cats were inside, and her car was parked in the carport. There were no signs of damage or disturbance. At about 1 a.m., the police contacted Cecilia's mother, Kathy. She said that she hadn't heard from her daughter in a couple of days, but this wasn't unusual. Kathy described Cecilia's mental health issues and how she would sometimes leave home. Kathy expected that in accordance with her past behavior, Cecilia would soon seek help at a hospital. And this is something that, we've talked about a lot. A person's pattern of past behavior, right? That plays a big role in a lot of times how their family kind of reacts to something that is happening now. Okay, she's done this before. We're not that worried. Yeah. Because this is pretty regular. And eventually we know she's going to go to the hospital. We'll probably be contacted.
Just a matter of time.
Police called Kathy again on the evening of September 6th. She still hadn't heard from Cecilia. And at this point, she was very concerned. Police did another search of Cecilia's apartment. Inside, they found her friend Jody Dumpleton, who had a key and came to check on her. Jody told police that in the days leading up to September 5th, Cecilia hadn't been doing well, and she had stayed with her some nights. She noted that Cecilia had not been taking her medication and regularly smoked cannabis. Cecilia's phone was not found inside her apartment. It's never been located. Records showed that the phone's last location was in the nearby suburb of Maryland. There was no phone activity on September 5th or after. I think, for me, what's kind of clouding this is this past behavior of her kind of getting rid of her phone.
Right. It's not uncommon for her to do this.
I mean, for most people, you would think, well, this is very strange. Everybody has their phone with them. And to not see any activity on someone's phone, you would think, oh, that can't be good. But with her, things might look a little differently because of, the fact that she's done this quite often.
I mean, to get rid of her phone, to stop taking her medication and smoke cannabis, for her to disappear for a little bit. It seems like that's been typical for her.
But I think at a certain point, right, her mom got worried because it probably went on longer than it had in the past. She probably was not used to going that long without talking to her daughter. Police obtained Cecilia's bank records on September 12th. One account showed nothing of interest, but her second account showed transactions in the town of Katoomba. On September 6th, Katoomba is about 230 kilometers from Waratah. On September 24th, the officer in charge reviewed CCTV footage which showed a woman who looked like Cecilia in the reception area of the Carrington Hotel around 3:30 p.m. on September 6th. She had a brief conversation with a staff member and then left. Cecilia was also captured on camera having a brief conversation with a man on Katoomba Street and was then captured walking down the street alone. On October 29th, the officer in charge contacted Sergeant Dallas Atkinson, the supervising sergeant of the Blue Mountains Police Rescue Squad, which serves Katoomba. Sergeant Atkinson advised that there was insufficient information to direct a land search for Cecilia. He recommended that investigators seek out any available footage from CCTV cameras positioned in Katoomba's central retail area.
I mean, in a sense, you have a timeline, right? At least you know where she's been.
And you have the charges from her bank account, in that same area. According to Sergeant Atkinson, police inquiries were made to the Katoomba Chamber of Commerce, but they didn't receive a response. Over the following weeks, the officer in charge carried out inquiries and followed up on reported sightings. The officer in charge went on family leave in November 2018 and returned on February 25th, 2019. In his absence, colleagues were tasked with following up on reported sightings and maintaining contact with Cecilia's mother. On December 21st, 2018, what would have been Cecilia's 42nd birthday, the Newcastle City Police issued a statewide appeal for information. It wasn't until March 5th, 2019, that further inquiries were made with the Kohl's Supermarket and Rivers Clothing Store in Katoomba, where Cecilia made transactions.
Kind of seems unreasonable.
Like a very long time for that type of investigation to linger, right? They knew where she made the transactions very, very early on. But it wasn't until, 5-6 months had gone by that they actually went to these retailers and asked questions?
Can't imagine what the excuse would have been for that.
No, me neither. You know, there's a lot of things that come with spring. And for me, spring has brought on a little bit of a reset with my closet lately. I'm focusing more on quality over quantity, just kind of building a wardrobe of pieces that are well-made, versatile, and easy to reach for every day. And that's why I keep coming back to Quince. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are thoughtful, and the pricing actually makes sense. Quince makes beautiful everyday pieces using premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and super soft denim, with styles starting around $50. Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middleman, so you're paying for quality, not brand markup. I am in love with Quince's Flow Knit activewear. I love their shorts, their tops. The fabric is amazing. The price is ridiculous. But everything my whole family has ordered from Quince has been top-notch. So refresh your spring wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/truecrime for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to quince.com/truecrime for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/truecrime. You know, folks, we're hearing about GLP-1s all the time. When I first started hearing about them, I kind of thought they'd be a passing fad. But they're definitely here to stay, and they're getting better than ever with new technology. And that's where Ro comes in. Ro has developed the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. But in addition to the Wegovy pill, Ro offers a full suite of FDA-approved GLP-1s for weight loss, including vials and pens that many customers have already heard of. And people are finding out that there are a lot of potential benefits to GLP-1s in addition to weight loss. Not only can you lose weight, but patients can also expect to have better lab numbers, more energy, new levels of confidence, and more benefits that go beyond the scale. The new FDA-approved GLP-1 pill is available at $149 for the first dose, in addition to your Ro membership fee. After your first online visit, if you're eligible for treatment, you can expect to start your medication in less than a week if paying cash, or about 2 weeks if using insurance. I already take an injectable for my diabetes, but if I didn't, I would definitely be using the pill. Go to ro.co/unsolved to see if you're eligible for the new GLP-1 pill on Ro. That's ro.co/unsolved to get started on Ro. Go to ro.co/safety for boxed warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications. The officer in charge traveled to Katoomba to conduct interviews. A staff member at the Carrington Hotel recalled having seen Cecilia in September 2018. She had no shoes on, and he told her she would need to get shoes to stay there. And it does seem to fit in line with what people said about her, right? There were many times where she would ditch her phone. She would take her shoes off. She would walk long distances.
Maybe after hearing that is why she went to that store to get maybe a pair of shoes.
Sounds reasonable. The officer in charge also spoke to the man who interacted with Cecilia on Katoomba Street. He didn't have any independent recollection of her. He watched the video of their interaction and thought that based on the way he was pointing, he was showing her the direction of Echo Point. The officer obtained CCTV from the Rivers clothing store, which showed Cecilia was there around 3:30 p.m. on September 6th. And I'll be honest with you, Gibbs, I'm totally shocked that they still had this footage.
I am too.
Because it has been 6 months or so since this happened. Actually, yeah, about 6 months.
Yeah.
Now, if this would have happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, I don't think they would have had that footage at all.
They would have cycled through it.
Yeah. Cecilia told sales assistant Lillian Boersma that she had walked a long way, had nowhere to stay, and others had been rude to her. She purchased shoes, a men's zip-up cardigan, gloves, and a scarf. Lillian told Cecilia she might be able to stay at the Salvation Army and gave her the address, but no one at the Salvation Army recalled seeing her. But I have to ask the question, Gibbs, would somebody have remembered it 6 months before?
I'm thinking the odds I think the odds would have been greater then.
Yeah, they definitely would. The Kohl's Supermarket and Katoomba Village area no longer had CCTV footage from September 6th.
Oh, there you go.
It doesn't surprise me at all. Sales records were available that showed that Cecilia made a purchase at 3:53 p.m. She bought a bottle of water, broccoli, tomatoes, bananas, and an avocado. Just prior to this, she withdrew $700 from an ATM in town.
So she's definitely being active.
And healthy.
Yeah.
That's, if I'm going to the supermarket, that is usually not what my receipt looks like. But again, I don't eat all that healthy. Also, $700 is a lot of money to withdraw.
Well, maybe she needed to buy another phone because she's going through phones a lot.
Yeah, that's true. So what all of this meant was that the last known CCTV sighting was of Cecilia taking directions from the man on the street. Her movements after she left Kohl's, shortly after 3:53 p.m., are unknown. On March 18, 2019, water NSW scientist Wayne Burns was doing work at the Upper Cascade Dam, just outside Katoomba. At midday, he observed a decomposed body lying face up in shallow water on the eastern side of the dam. Grasses and reeds were growing thickly in this area, which appeared to have prevented the body from drifting away. Police officers recovered the body, which was nude. There was no personal property or ID nearby. On April 5th, 2019, DNA testing identified the remains as Cecilia Divine.
Well, I mean, mystery solved there, right? Now we know where she's at. We just don't know what happened.
Yeah, we don't know what happened or who was involved if this was not a natural death. And let's be honest, the scene so far doesn't scream natural death. She's nude in the water. And we mentioned it, right? This Katoomba is about 230 kilometers from her home. It was said that she had no known connection to Katoomba. Her brother said they had no idea why she would be there, and they were not aware of anyone she knew in the town. The area where her body was found is surrounded by dense bushland. It's not accessible by car, and there were no walking tracks, just fire trails. When Cecilia was experiencing a mental health episode, as suspected around the time of her disappearance, she sought out safe places. Her family and friends couldn't imagine why she would have voluntarily gone to an isolated place like the dam because she would not have felt safe there.
Probably would have been easy to get confused in an area like that too.
Well, yeah, if you're not familiar with it. Cecilia's autopsy couldn't establish a cause or manner of death due to advanced decomposition. Her neck was examined physically and via X-ray and CT. The exams didn't detect evidence of acute traumatic fractures. There were no fractures to any other part of her body. There was no way to get blood samples for toxicology testing. Attempts were made to test fragments of her liver and muscle, but these were unsuitable to be tested. So, they're not really getting a lot.
No, they're not.
Detective Sergeant James Allen the new lead investigator, later said that he didn't know why the search for CCTV footage was not done until March 2019. In September 2020, he commented that there is limited CCTV footage available for this investigation, and this is attributed to the length of time between September 5th, 2018 and March 18th, 2019, with most CCTV systems not retaining footage for this length of time, including City Rail. Some CCTV opportunities were not taken during the initial investigation.
Well, it's good that he's pointing this out, that the previous investigator or investigators missed an opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think he's kind of sugarcoating it a little bit, right? Yeah. Some opportunities were not taken. No, they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to be frank about it, I get it. He doesn't want to blast them because it's another agency and, you know, you kind of want to tread lightly. But I think if you read between the lines, you get what he's saying. There was a search of the area surrounding the dam in late April 2019 and a search of surrounding dam waters. Only 2 items were found that had a potential link to Cecilia: a shoe and an orange towel. Searchers found a single shoe that matched the pair Cecilia purchased on September 6th. It was found in dense vegetation, approximately 5 meters from the water of Cascade Creek, which feeds into Upper Cascade Dam. It was found about 300 to 500 meters from where her body was found. So that's an interesting, piece of information. I don't know what it means. Does it mean that her body went into the water closer to where the shoe was and there, her body then drifted, or did the shoe drift? I have no idea.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a way to tell.
The orange towel had the DNA profile of an unknown male, listed as Profile B. The DNA was linked to a DNA sample that was obtained some years earlier from a motorcycle that was stolen from a man named Cameron Spriggs. In May 2020, Spriggs gave a voluntary DNA sample that did not match Profile B. Profile B has no match to any stored DNA samples. Thus, there's no evidence linking the towel to Cecilia's case.
This is a towel that was found in the general area then.
But it could be, right, that whoever left this DNA on the towel also had something to do with her death. There's just no evidence linking it. Plus, they don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
Further land and water searches were done in May, July, and August, but nothing was found. So leads ran out, and years passed with no answers. A coroner's inquest into Cecilia's death began on March 15, 2024. The lead investigator, Detective Sergeant James Allen, outlined the theories as to the manner of Cecilia's death and how her body came to be in the dam. He couldn't exclude that Cecilia took her own life, died of natural causes, met with a fatal accident, or was killed by another person. So basically, he cannot exclude anything, is what he's saying.
Right.
Because there's just not enough information to include or exclude anything when it comes to her manner of death. Now, he did say that he considered suicide or death by natural causes less likely. First of all, there was no evidence that Cecilia had tried to end her life in the past. She didn't have any known health conditions. There was no evidence anyone else had a motive to kill her, but homicide or fatal misadventure remain the more likely reasons for her death.
Fatal misadventure.
I'm assuming that means like a fatal accident.
Yeah.
Is what I'm taking that to mean. And I think, if you're walking around like a dam type area, a body of water, well, obviously there are some scenarios where somebody could slip, fall, go into the water, possibly drown.
If you're in a really dense area, which this was, that can wear you down as you're trying to get through that area, and maybe you just don't have the strength if something does happen.
To save yourself?
Yeah.
Possible. Police looked into several persons of interest, but all were eliminated as potential murder suspects. Detective Sergeant Allen said a likely hypothesis was that Cecilia walked into the bushland, entered the dam, and died in a case of misadventure.
Yeah, kind of what you just kind of mentioned.
Yeah, we don't often hear the word misadventure used, but I do think that that's a likely hypothesis. I understand it. Sergeant Allen stood by evidence that Cecilia could be drawn to water during recovery from a mental health episode. Several witnesses told police Cecilia was a modest person who didn't take her clothes off in public and even swam clothed in her friend's backyard pool. She was most unlikely to have taken off her clothing in the bushland.
Maybe, but if you're out in the bushland and there's nobody around and you don't foresee anybody coming around, maybe you say, I'll take these clothes off, I'll jump in for a little bit, take a dip, come back out, put some dry clothes on. I don't have to worry about someone peeping in on me.
Yeah, I think it's one of the problems with this case is everything's possible. It's really hard to take anything off the table. Allen conceded the objective likelihood of Cecilia taking a 3-kilometer walk to the dam from the grocery store was low. Now, people did say that she often took very long walks. She even told, I think, someone at the hotel that she had walked a long way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, make of that what you will. Generally, only employees of Water NSW and Sydney Water go to the Upper Cascade Dam. Vehicle access outside daytime hours is prevented by locked gates. Apart from management fire trails, there's no walking tracks in the area, and the fire trails do not go directly to the dams. The area where Cecilia was found is 50 meters from the nearest fire trail. Detective Sergeant Allen explained that if a person were to walk to the Upper Cascade Dam from Katoomba, taking the most direct route, they would go along the streets at the edge of town, which are windy, hilly, and poorly lit after sunset. From there, they would take a steep but walkable fire trail leading to the dense bushland.
Yeah, but then you got to go through the dense bushland. It's going to wear you down.
Sergeant Dallas Atkinson of the Blue Mountains Police Rescue Squad clarified his earlier comment that it was possible other property items were missed during the search. He explained that once a person leaves the fire trail at the point nearest to where the shoe was found, the vegetation leading to the creek and dam gets extremely dense and marshy, which can cause objects to become submerged. For this reason, he considered it unlikely that anyone would have been able to carry or drag a body from the nearest road access to this point and then to the dam's edge. The inquest heard that investigators obtained an aerial mapping image of the Upper Cascades Dam. A company called Nearmap provided aerial images dated September 13, 2018, just 7 days after Cecilia was seen alive. The images showed an object in the shape of a body lying on the surface of shallow waters. The location was 65 meters from where Cecilia was found 6 months later. The height of the photos made it impossible to discern any distinguishable features on the body. The body did appear to be in an unclothed state.
Most likely her?
Either that or you have multiple bodies.
Yeah.
In this, water. I think what's interesting to me is that the location of it 6 months prior to it being found is 65 meters away.
Yeah.
So if that's her, then I think you can completely discount the theory that that's where her body went into the water. More likely it went in somewhere else and that's where her body ended up.
Right.
The coroner concluded that the body was Cecilia based on the time between the images and the last known sighting, the geographical proximity of the body, in the images to her last known location in Katoomba, and the proximity of the body in the images to where her body and shoe were later found. The counsel for Cecilia's family raised concern about the possibility that she was harmed by another person and expressed their wishes for further investigation. The coroner adjourned the inquest for 4 months to allow for further investigation. And I don't blame her family in thinking that, there's a possibility here that somebody killed her.
So there's no reason to rush it. They have the body. So let's take the time to do some more investigation to give the family the answers that they deserve.
Yeah, I don't see any harm in that. My other thought is I don't feel like they have enough information to really conclusively decide anything at this point. The inquest met a second time on July 5th, 2024. The inquest heard that in June, police conducted a search of the bushland but didn't find anything. Detective Senior Constable Michael Gale described the terrain they searched as dense with thick ground cover that caused you to sink as you walked. He concluded that it was highly unlikely that a person could proceed through the area barefoot or with inappropriate clothing. So what do you make of that?
I mean, it sounds like he's saying she didn't walk in there on her own.
Yeah, that's the way I'm taking it as well. The inquest addressed the question of how Cecilia's clothing was removed. During the adjournment period, an expert report was sought from Barbara Stewart, an associate professor who does research in forensic decomposition chemistry. At the inquest, Professor Stewart identified factors which may cause clothing to be removed from the body of a person who has been immersed in water, such as type of clothing, water temperature, current or tidal action, body composition, and the manner in which the body came to be in the water. Cecilia was wearing a loose-fitting long-sleeved top, a shirt and pants. Loose-fitting clothes are more easily removed in water. Cecilia purchased a zip-front jumper, but it's not known whether she wore it. Assuming she had done so, Professor Stewart commented that it wasn't possible to say whether this garment would have been a tight or a loose fit. If it was loose, it was feasible that within the space of a week, the time between her disappearance and the aerial photos, it would become separated from her body by natural means. If zipped up, it would have been tighter and more difficult to be separated from her body.
So a lot of variables there.
Yeah, I think a lot of variables, but it's interesting to think about or, kind of look at scientifically whether or not she could have been fully clothed when either she went into the water or was put into the water by someone else and her clothes all came off in the water.
I also think it's good knowledge to have next time Frank the Tank decides to go running through the quad naked like you do sometimes, that you can tell the police when they pick you up that you initially had clothes on, but they were loose-fitting, and based on this theory, your clothes came off.
That's how my clothes got off.
Yeah.
Whether it was zipped up or not, the jumper was most unlikely to have remained on her body over the period between her disappearance and the discovery of her body. And I thought that was an interesting statement. You would think a zipped up jumper would not come off as easily as a loose fitting top.
That's exactly how I was thinking. Like, if it wasn't zipped up, I can grasp that. But to be zipped up.
Now, how far is it zipped up, right? All the way up to the neckline? Probably not. Most people don't. So I don't know exactly what this jumper looked like, but this person's an expert. So you have to take what they say very seriously. The water in the Upper Cascade Dam was described as notably cold. The cooler water would delay the onset of decomposition and bloating, which would enable the clothing to be more easily separated from the body.
No, I understand that.
Professor Stewart noted that the dam was reported to be a stable environment without currents or tides, and was protected from winds. This might be expected to reduce the potential for clothes to be forced from the body. So she's given a lot of great information, but some of it's contradictory.
Yeah, like that statement.
As to whether or not the clothes were likely to have come off, submerged debris increased the water pressure on a body and could attach to clothing, causing it to become snagged and to be pulled off. So taking, all these factors into account, it is possible that Cecilia's clothing could have become separated from her body by natural means within the space of a week of her entering the water. Professor Stewart made it clear that it wasn't possible to determine the extent to which these factors were present around the time that she entered the water. So it's a lot of great information, and frankly, a lot of stuff I didn't really know or have never thought about.
Yeah.
But what does it really tell us? Not a lot, because we don't know the full extent of the conditions of the water when she went in.
You just wish they would say, nope, couldn't happen. Or, yep, it did happen.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times that's hard. Part of that is because her body wasn't found for many, many months.
Yeah.
For this reason, the coroner could not conclude that Cecilia's body became unclothed by natural means. On October 22nd, 2024, the Coroner's Court of New South Wales issued the findings of the inquest. The coroner concluded that her death took place on or after September 6th, but no later than September 13th. The evidence also enables the conclusion that she died in the area of Upper Cascade Dam. The evidence does not enable a finding to be made as to the cause of her death. A finding could not be made as to whether the manner of death was misadventure or homicide by a person or persons unknown. There is insufficient evidence to establish the cause and manner of death. So, it's not a lot. But I think that's to be expected because, man, they just don't have a lot to work with.
It's limited information that they have. I like that they didn't label it one way or the other, though. That they left it where they did, because we've seen other cases where they went the other direction when they probably should never have.
Right. In this case, you would kind of still call it like undetermined, right? As opposed to coming out and conclusively saying, well, it was this, when in reality, you don't have the facts to back that up. The coroner noted that it was regrettable that work wasn't done at an earlier stage to seek out CCTV footage of the Katoomba village retail area. He said, of course, it cannot be known that if this had been done, it would have changed the tragic outcome, but it may have provided some answers to the many questions which remain about Cecilia's movements that afternoon.
It's a shame.
It really is a shame. The coroner noted that a significant mystery remains as to the possibility of misadventure. And they really like that term, misadventure.
Yes, they do.
Over in Australia. How did Cecilia get to be in the area of the dam? Assuming she went there voluntarily, there's no evidence she was familiar with the area. It may be that after making her purchases in town, she decided to go for a walk and got lost in the bushland. This is not unfeasible, taking into account the density of the bushland, the lack of light, and the fact that she had no phone. Her family somewhat supports this hypothesis, but also notes that at times when she went out on her own, she sought safe places. And I know they brought that up a couple of times. I get that. I also understand that an unfamiliar dam or a place like that doesn't seem to scream safe place.
Yeah.
This thick bushland doesn't scream safe place.
No.
The police also announced a $500,000 reward in hopes of encouraging people who may have seen Cecilia to come forward. Superintendent John Nelson of the Blue Mountains Police Area Command said, prior to her disappearance, Cecilia traveled from Newcastle to Katoomba, yet we still don't have firm evidence of how she got there, why she made the journey, or how she died. And I think he really does a good job of kind of summing it up. It's one thing that we really haven't talked a lot about yet. We said that Katoomba was about 230 kilometers from where she lived.
That's a healthy hike.
That is a long walk if that's how she got there.
Yeah.
If that's not how she got there, then how did she? Did she hitch a ride with someone? Did somebody give her a ride? That could all play into this if we knew the answers.
I mean, you would think she probably had to get a ride, but maybe not.
Well, I keep going back to the fact that so many different people said that, when she experienced some of her periods of mental health issues, she would go on these long walks. Now, what is meant by the term long walks? Because let's face it, 230 kilometers is to me more than a long walk.
Yeah.
A long walk for me is from the studio to my refrigerator. So that's a long ways. I don't even want to drive 230 kilometers. I sure as hell don't want to walk it.
I mean, that would be like you walking from here to my house, back and forth. What?
A number of times. I don't know the number.
Yeah. Too many times. And it would take you days if you could even do it.
Yeah. I mean, for our US listeners, it's like 143 miles.
Yeah.
It's a long time. That's roughly almost 2.5 hours by car.
Yeah.
If you're driving 55 or 60 miles an hour, I don't have a clue how long that would take to walk.
Too long.
And I'm never going to find out. I'm sure not going to Forrest Gump it at any point and go just start running or walking to see how long I can go. But maybe some people would. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling she probably got a ride at some point, but that's just my personal thought.
In 2024, Cecilia's mother, Kathy Pearson, told A Current Affair, "I believe someone has done this. Horrible, horrible thing. I know my daughter very well. I'm her mom, and I know she wouldn't have gone into the Cascade Dam at all. She was seeking somewhere safe to sleep. That's all she was looking for. She wouldn't have done that, and she certainly wouldn't have stripped her clothes off. Despite the fact that Cecilia often went on long walks, her mom believes she would not have gone to the dam. She said, I think she's gone with this person, and he's offered, or she has offered, a place where she can stay because that's all she'd be thinking about. I need a place to stay." And I understand, what place that comes from. I mean, she even mentioned to somebody at the store, right? She didn't have a place to stay.
Yeah.
That person said, well, maybe you can stay at the Salvation Army. Is it possible that she met someone and that person said, you know what? I'll help you out. I got a place where you can stay. She got into a vehicle with that person, and then things went really, really badly from there.
I mean, in her state of mind at that time, she could have been an easy target.
Yeah. Yeah, she could have been.
Someone took advantage of that situation and did something really bad.
As of 2026, the circumstances surrounding the death of Cecilia Divine remain unsolved. Anyone with information that may assist investigators is urged to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-333-000 or at nsw.crimestoppers.com.au. Information is treated in strict confidence. The public is reminded not to report information via NSW police social media pages.
They want to keep it confidential.
Well, and they probably don't want it to be public right off the bat.
Yeah.
Which it would be on any type of social media page. I think, Gibbs, as we wrap this case up, there is a lot of mystery here. I mean, if this case were to be solved, and I'm not exactly sure how it would be solved with so much unknown, but let's say the facts somehow could be 100% concretely known.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of different scenarios. One is that she had some type of accident around this dam area, hit her head, maybe somehow fell in the water, drowned. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that she decided to end her life? Yeah, I think it's a possibility. It's not high on the list for me because I don't think that this is a way that a lot of people would choose if they were making the decision to end their life. And then I think you have to look at something along the lines of foul play. She's in an area with which she has very little to no connection. She doesn't know anybody there as far as we could ascertain. How hard is it to think that maybe somebody offered her some help and that person had really bad intentions?
I think it's a possibility.
The problem I have is because they did wait so long, right? 6 months or so to start looking for or asking about this CCTV footage. I think that really hampers the investigation, and it's something that you can never get back. So it doesn't help in solving the case moving forward.
Yeah.
And I don't know what would, outside of a confession or something like that. I really don't know how this case would be solved.
I feel like it would be difficult.
I don't know that anybody's going to discover some magical piece of evidence that, links somebody. Now, maybe the DNA on that towel finally gets identified and it turns out to be a serial killer who was roaming, around the area there in Australia
at that time. Yeah.
And maybe they're able to link that person to Cecilia's death, but it's very mysterious.
It is mysterious.
But we'll see if any information comes out in the future. But that's it for our episode on Cecilia Divine. We got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hey, holy shit. I can't believe you guys played my voicemail. That's awesome. Mike, I did not mean that when I said F you. That was just a friendly F you. I think you guys are awesome. You're both great. And anyways, this is Paul from Las Vegas. And anyways, I think I'm going to look up when CrimeCon comes. Maybe go say hi. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you too, man. I don't remember if I played that voicemail on TCAT or TCAT Unsolved, but it was a memorable voicemail for me. I didn't take offense by it. I just thought it was funny.
You did.
In the way that he said it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that there was what do you call it? A playful FU or a lovable FU, or I don't know, either one.
FU, buddy.
Yeah. Hey. But I kind of took it from the voicemail because he's like, I love the show. And then just at the very end, he was like, oh yeah, Mike, FU.
Yeah.
So I kind of took that as joking. But either way, I was still going to sleep at night,
Yeah.
But it's cool that he called back in to clarify it.
Maybe we'll see him at CrimeCon or at one of the tables out in Vegas.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to be there in about a month.
It is. It's about a month. Yeah.
From when we're taping this. So, all right, buddy, that is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
Of free movies and TV shows.
We're coming at you with everything we got.
This is the mindset. Free. This is the mantra.
Free.
This is the mindset. With movies like Pineapple Express, the entire Star Trek film franchise, and Gladiator, and TV shows like Survivor, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Ghosts, Pluto TV is always free. Huzzah! Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.